haven't got it right, you wanna ride.
Well, viewers, welcome to what I am calling nonsensible second-hand reviews. This is a 2017 BMW M140i. It's been very kindly lent to me by Dan from the Dan's Cars in the Country YouTube channel. He is currently sampling the delights of an MG HS plug-in hybrid that we're testing this week. It's been lent by MG Motor UK, and well, he's provided me this to drive in the meantime. It's fast, viewers. Standard, these have 345 horsepower. This one has been modified a bit by a company called Litchfield, and it now produces 430 horsepower. Yes, viewers, definitely non-sensible second-hand reviews. So the second generation BMW 1 Series was launched in 2012. Well, I think production started in 2011, and it ran all the way through to 2019. This is a facelifted model. I think they call it the LCI, the facelifted model, for some reason. I'm not sure why. And this was the absolute top of the range. It has a 6-cylinder engine, which displaces about 3 litres. Now, the brake horsepower outputs and the model designations for the F20 and F21 1 Series are a little bit confusing. If you want to sort of work out what they are, then I could suggest the Matt Beamer YouTube channel to you. He has an early F20 1 Series 116i. It's a Russian market car, and he knows all about these cars. What we'll do is a bit later on we'll look at the specific model designations and power outputs, but I'm not actually trying to drive. That's probably best. But yes, we can still have some fun in this. 0 to 60 of the standard M140i is about 4.3 seconds. In this one, it is, I think it's about 4 after the tuning that's happened. And it's got different modes. At the moment I'm in the Eco Pro mode because that's the way that we drive in you know, sensible second-hand reviews mode. But if I'm doing the non-sensible, I have this switch just down here, and that will enable me to go, I don't know, a little bit faster. So up to comfort mode. This is how Dan normally drives it. Sport mode. That's got rid of some of my gears and made the car feel a bit nervous. Sport Plus. Now this one, I'm going to have to be very careful that I don't actually put the throttle down too much, because then I might lose my licence, and we don't want that to happen, viewers, then I won't be able to do my job. But the car feels very nervous, feels ready to go, and the steering has weighted up. Now, a couple of options available in M140i were adaptive dampers and a limited slip differential. This car doesn't have either of those, but still, due to the rear-wheel drive and the handling balance, this car drives exceptionally well. It really does. It must be said that you can buy an F20 or F21 1 Series for less than £5,000, so we're kind of sort of touching on sensible second-hand reviews territory here, just not this particular version. Brakes are very, very good. Some people actually get better brakes by putting brakes to, I think, the previous generation bid M3 in these. So I think they do fit if you need extra braking performance. But if you're me and we go back to the Eco Pro mode, and we have all sorts of things going on here, like you know, a mode that will do a bit of battery charging and all that sort of stuff, like on the dashboard here, then we don't need anything like that. We drive responsibly and sensibly on this channel. Well, viewers, Would you look at what we have here? An absolute and utter delight. I think the car looks quite good in this blue with the sort of grey mirror caps. I think that's grey rather than silver. Not so sure about these sort of dark silver alloy wheels, but certainly these twin exhausts, they show you that you mean business. Weirdly, this car doesn't have a reversing camera. I would have thought that would have been standard on this. Weirdly, other things that weren't standard were heated seats and cruise control. Given how much these cost in 2017, I would have thought that that would be standard, but it's not. So we'll look inside the boot first of all. There we are. About 360 litres in here. Don't think we get a spare wheel or anything like that in this. No, we don't. Still be greeted by the 12-volt battery. Now, if you ever need to change a 12-volt battery in an F20 or F21 1 Series, then there's a very good video about it on the Mats Beamer YouTube channel. It shows you what to do, because it is a little bit complicated doing that. It's a little bit of a smaller boot than something like, I don't know, a Seat Leon, which would have been very equivalent to this at the time, if not a little bit cheaper. But yes, I'll just replace that thing there, because that's going to annoy me, viewers, if I don't. And there we go, that's in properly now. Yes, I would have expected to have something like a reversing camera on there, but never mind, we'll have a nice twin exhaust and a diffuser instead. So if I get into the back, this seat is set up for me as a passenger, not as a driver, so it'd be a bit different. It's all right in here. It's not as cramped as I thought it would be. I thought this would be very cramped, but it's not. It's quite dark in here because of a dark headliner. But you know, that's what you get with an M-badged car. I suppose this kind of is. Big transmission tunnel, of course, because it's rear-wheel drive. That could be something to consider if you want to use this for family duties. Separate control for the sort of heating and ventilation here, which is nice, and not the sort of thing you expect on a sort of small family car like this. Of course, the materials do feel nice. That, I think, is sort of, it's certainly not hard touch plastic, it's sort of between hard and soft. And that feels very good as well. Piano black, which I think is the sort of theme with a lot of modern performance cars. And there is actually storage down there too. That's interesting, this light, I don't know if that's LED or not. And if you are having to change it, I think there also is a very useful video on the Mats Beamer channel to show you how to change that. No, there's no rear armrest either. That's pretty extraordinary. I don't think you get one. No, you don't. Maybe have to sort of release that from the back, which I might do in a second, to sort of serve as a kind of ersatz one. But at least you've got Isofix covers, which are sort of hinged, so you can't use them and lose them, unlike on a Volkswagen Golf Mark 7.5. which just sort of come off, and then you can't find them at the right time. 12-volt socket in the back. Yeah, it's not bad. There's not a huge amount of headroom, but there's enough. Let's go and sit in the front, because after all, it's supposed to be the ultimate driving machine. Right, we've got keyless entry in this particular car. Just move my secret mission documents out of the way as I get in. It's quite low, this car, which adds to a sort of sporty feel. And yeah, the centre console is slightly inclined towards drive, which is good. Just put the key down there. So we turn the car on. It actually does have start-stop. It's probably going to have to close that door, otherwise it will go a bit crazy on me, won't it? And here we have BMW's iDrive system. Compared with a lot of modern touchscreens, this is honestly pretty easy to use. I can use this very easily just from here without having to reach out and touch the display at all, which actually these days with all the touchscreens we're used to, it's pretty good. I think we'll just switch her on so we can see some of the different modes. There we go. So currently I think we're in comfort mode, so I'm just going to use the selector here to put it into Eco Pro, which is the one I'd normally drive it. There we go, charge and power icons, and it's showing me there I've just changed into Eco Pro. With sport mode, that's what it looks like there. And Sport Plus, dynamic traction control activated. It sort of means it's turned some of the stuff off. Dynamic driving with limited driving stabilization. I don't think we're going to be doing too much about viewers, so we'll go back to sport, to comfort, and then Eco Pro. See what else we kind of have in this. If I push this to that side, there we go. We've actually got navigation as well. We'll just look at the map, see where we are. There we are. Interesting, there's all the place we are. Just not showing actually the village we're in terms of naming it, but you know, that's maybe if we zoom in we'd be able to get that. This reminds me so much of my mother's old E91, I think it was called, 3 Series from 2010. This had a very similar iDrive system, although not quite as advanced as this. So yeah, there's all sorts of vehicle information. Let's have a look at that and see. Oh, there's an entire owner's handbook in here, and we have vehicle status. Oh, we've got tyre pressure monitoring and things like that as well. Oil level. Oh, it's got an electronic dipstick. Let's just have a look. Engine level all okay. Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, it's pretty easy to use this for a modern system. Heated seats, an optional extra. This car has them. Cruise control, an optional extra. This car has them. This car has a cruise control. And these paddles were standard with the automatic transmission, which again was an option. There was also a 6-speed manual available. This is an 8-speed. I think a ZF make this. And there's the dual zone climate control. We got the little colour displays there as well, but actual proper dials, and a normal handbrake, viewers. A normal handbrake. I do like normal handbrakes. Let's just turn the engine off so we save a bit of fuel. There's the controls for the iDrive. There's the armrest that goes back and forth. Can we open this up? Yes, we can. There's a little place to charge in there and aux in. They got one USB port, that's a bit annoying. Right, let's open up the glove box and see if the secret mission documents actually fit inside. Oh, come on, viewers. No! Not very happy. Not happy at all. They'd probably go in the door bin somewhere if I wanted them to do that. I would prefer, you know, yes, nice leather interior and nice steering wheel, but I need it in beige leather. That's what I need. That would make me feel a bit happier. Right, let's have a look at the engine. Hydraulic struts, that's fancy. And there we are, a longitudinally mounted straight six engine, the B58 engine, standard form generating 345 horsepower. Smallest engine in these was one I can't really talk about in the pre-facelift ones. The Prince engine, we don't talk about that on this channel, known as the N13 in BMW speak. And then there were also some forbidden fuel engines. We don't talk about those either. But we do talk about the 116i after the facelift, known as the LCI version of the car, which was a 1.5 3-cylinder all the way up to this 3-litre straight six. So lots of engine options, which we'll cover after we've been for another little drive, because this is what this car is all about. Being able to drive it and enjoying it. And yes, I have enjoyed it very much myself as well, viewers. Very much. as you can see, viewers, as we go through the Northamptonshire countryside, the car actually is relatively composed. The ride isn't quite as firm as I was expecting in one of these. We'll just head over to Chipping Warden, where we'll also draw some conclusions about this amazing car. The ride isn't quite as firm as I was expecting. Obviously, Dan took me out for a little blast earlier on where he was using a lot of Sport Plus, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. It's not the worst car I've ever driven in terms of the ride, although it is a little bit firm. It's exactly what you'd expect for a car like this. One thing I'm not really a fan of is the one-touch indicators and wiper stalks, as a lot of you will know from other cars like mid-2000s Vauxhalls and BMWs I've driven, which have them. I'm not a massive fan of them, and this is a particular mind of its own, but never mind. I'll just be very careful through here, because there's a massive speed camera here as well, and we don't want to get any points on licenses and things like that for Dan or me, so we'll be very sensible. But yes, I can see why Mr. Woolard from the Max Beamer channel really likes these cars, and his one is in very good condition. It's an early 116i with no iDrive, and so it represents a really quite a different point of a range from this. But I'm sure he's still got things like the chassis balance and the driving pleasure out of this, even if it's not quite as absolutely ludicrous as this one. As promised, viewers, let's look at some of the engine options available in the F20 and F21 BMW 1 Series. Now, the F21 just relates to the 3-door version. The F20 is a standard 5-door. From 2012 to 2015, there was the 114i, 1.6 Prince engine, 101 brake horsepower, known as the N13. I shouldn't be talking about this engine, viewers. There is a very good video on the Max Beamer YouTube channel talking about all the problems with it, and I've come across it in a number of cars before, and I shouldn't be talking about it, but I'm going to have to keep going. With the pre-facelift 116i, that was 134 horsepower, again a 1.6 N13 between 2012 and 2015. The post-facelift 116i was a 1.5 engine with 107 horsepower. The B38 engine is a 3-cylinder. That was sort of moved further down the range, so the 114 was discontinued. 118i pre-facelift 1.6 N13 168 horsepower. Post facelift 1.5 B38 134 horsepower between 2015 and 19. 120i again N13 1.6 174 horsepower from 2012 to 15, and then from 15 to 18 with the LCI 2 litre B48 with 181 horsepower. That sounds like a fun engine. The 125i pre-facelift, the N20 engine, not the Prince engine, fortunately. That's brilliant. We've got rid of those now. N20 2 litre 215 horsepower, and the LCI 125i, a different engine, a B48 again, 221 horsepower from 2015 to 19. M35i, that was actually available both pre and post facelift, although the facelifted cars are quite rare because it's only made for about a year. 3 litre, the N55 engine, 315 horsepower initially before the facelift, and then after the facelift, just for 1 year, 15 to 16, 332 horsepower. Then this M140i, the B58 engine, 3 litre straight 6, standard tune, 335, 345 horsepower, I think, one of the two. I forget which one exactly it is. This one, of course, has a bit more than that. So viewers, this car and its many trim levels, we need to just talk about that briefly before we draw some conclusions. There was the ES, M Performance, M Sport, M Sport Shadow Edition, M35i, M40i, the SE, SE Business, the Sport, the Urban, the Performance Edition, and then the Efficient Dynamics Business, and the Efficient Dynamics Plus. So a lot more trim levels than we used to have in BMWs back in the day, but still a bit stingy with those options, unfortunately. The car was made in Regensburg, in Leipzig, in Germany, in Brazil, India, Thailand, and then in Malaysia as well. So all over the place. Is this a car that you should consider if you're going to be, a non-sensible person, not the sort of person who wears a corduroy jacket and has a budget of just £5,000? Well, I don't think there are many kind of cars that have this kind of combination of sort of crazy hot hatch performance and rear wheel drive. I can't think of any. Most of them are front or four wheel drive. There are one or two ergonomic compromises with a car like this. Of course, it's going to cost a bit more to service. But again, it's not a 2-litre engine, it's a 3-litre straight-six engine. So it'll cost a bit more to service, but my gosh, this thing's quick. If you run it just in Eco Pro mode, it's actually surprisingly nice to live with. It's not really much of an issue. So yes, thank you again to Dan from Dan's Cars in the Country for letting me film this, just because I happened to be there. Thank you for watching this episode of non-sensible second-hand reviews. Normal service will resume later, I'm sure. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, switch on notifications to be informed of new uploads. And yeah, social media links are down below. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching.
Every blue day, every day.